This pandemic has opened eyes for all of us. Uncertainties can happen at any point of time and everything can come to a halt. Our system needs to be strong enough to handle such type of challenges. Entire world shifted to digital in last 1 year. So strong IT infrastructure is the need of the hour. In the upcoming fireside chat between Abhishek Singh, CEO MyGov, Mighty, Government of India, with Vineet Shirsagar, Director Sales, Government, Hitachi Vantara, and Mohammad Ujale, Senior Special Correspondent, ET Government. They will discuss building IT infra for future governance. Over to you, gentlemen.
Hello and welcome to ET Government National Governance Virtual Summit. In this special fireside chat discussion focus on the role of technology during the pandemic, especially under the Digital India program. We are going to discuss about how technology played an immense role in ensuring business continuity and how data were used over the last 1 year to ensure that we have a greater public policy framework to help India come out of pandemic and build a resilient IT infrastructure across the country. To lead the discussion today, I am joined by Mr. Abhishek Singh. He is an IAS officer currently serving as a Chief Executive Officer of MyGov and also as the President of National E-Governance Division. And I am also joined by Mr. Vineet Shirsagar, Director from Hitachi Vantara. Thank you so much both of you for joining in this panel discussion. I'll begin with you. What we have observed that during the pandemic, the government organization across the country which had some level of integrated technology platform, they were able to continue their services quite well and even they were able to address the challenge of the pandemic which people were facing quite well. Would you like to share based on your experience, especially under MyGov and NAGD, what kind of trend you noticed during the pandemic and how actually you mitigated the challenge?
See, first and foremost, like when this pandemic struck the world and India, there were few important issues that need to be tackled immediately. The first most important part was that whatever the health ministry was doing or whatever the government was supposed to do had to continue. The business continuity was a very important part of the whole paradigm when we were facing this problem sometime around the same time last year. So, that required, even though the lockdown, India had one of the biggest most stringent lockdowns across the world, that required ensuring that government functioning continues. So, for that all the IT tools that were developed in the past years were leveraged, whether it was a video conferencing solution, whether it was working on e-office mode, whether what was working through emails and using digital communications for the continuing the work, that was leveraged and that continued not only in the Government of India level, but the state government and district governments level also. So, that was the one key hallmark, that the speed at which people migrated to using virtual private networks and using e-office and VCs for conduct meetings was very commendable. The second most important thing was the nature of the pandemic itself. When we found the pandemic is such that this COVID-19 virus behaves in such a manner that it takes some time for symptoms to come, or symptoms may not come at all. So, I or you may get infected, but I will not know. I will keep on moving around, doing my basic things and keep on spreading the virus. So, people remain asymptomatic for a long time even after getting the virus. So, immediately based on experience world over, it was felt that we need to develop a IT solution to track such people. So, that way the Arogya Setu application, the contact tracing application was developed, which helped in ensuring that anyone who is found COVID-19 positive, which all places he has been, which all people he has met with, they can be alerted and those places can be sanitized and the district administration and the health authorities can take necessary action to sanitize those areas. So, that was a very important technological breakthrough which helped us in addressing the COVID-19 pandemic. The third most important thing was about the communications. Because again, when the pandemic came in, lot of myths came in, lot of fake news came in. People thought that India is a tropical country, when the summer will come the virus will die, we will not have anything, and people had to be educated about a lot of things. Today words like quarantine and all have become part of the lexicon, but way back in February, if anybody used the word quarantine, 90% people in India would not have known what it means. So, it required communications at a great level. So, MyGov took up this act and ensured that the communications with regard to the behavioral change that is required, hand washing, how to do hand washing, how to maintain social distancing, what is quarantine, what precautions to take, how to know what is right news, what is fake news. That position MyGov took, and then we started supporting Ministry of Health in building communications around it, getting videos done with doctors, getting testimonials, getting infographics done. When the lockdown instructions came in, people were confused that what is open, what is closed, and very often people are not able to decipher the Ministry of Home Affairs circulars and notice. So we converted them into infographics about what all, where all movement passes are required, how to get them, what are the precautions required when air travel was opening up or when rail travel was opening up, the SOPs for usage in malls, parks. So all that communications was built in. And as we move ahead to the vaccination part, again the same thing is coming to fore. Like how do we build a robust system in order to allow people to get registered for a vaccine that requires 2 doses and which requires us to vaccinate the entire country. So far the biggest vaccination program has been the polio vaccination program, which is like for children below 5 years of age. So compared to this, to vaccinating 1.3 billion people in India is a mammoth task. That required a very robust software interface. So the CoWIN application was developed, and then communications around CoWIN is going on. So as you see the entire digital footprint around the way the government functions, how to address the challenges of the pandemic and how to build communications around it, all of it has become very important in the present age.
Absolutely. I'll come back to Mr. Vineet. What Mr. Abhishek was saying that over the pandemic era, over the last 1 year, what we did, we used a lot of technology, a lot of new innovation were made. Would you like to share based on your experience, because you also work with a lot of government organization, as to what kind of trend you witness and what is your general assessment of technological intervention during pandemic?
Sure. So first of all, sir, it's a pleasure to kind of share the fireside chat with you. There's a lot of good work happening from the government, especially Digital India, and we've been a little bit of a part of it as well. So answering your question, I think lots changed in this 1 year. Or I would say there's a lot of acceleration of a lot of good work which was happening, which happened. Two things which we see is, one is clearly a lot of things went online, right? I'll just give you an example. I work in the government sector a lot, and we used to do all these PNCs, which used to be physical committee meetings. Now I've actually attended these PNCs online with 3 boardrooms and I sitting somewhere else. So the point which I'm trying to make is a lot of work went online, which wasn't imagined before, right? People would kind of think this is just not possible, right? And government being government, obviously you have to be face to face for a lot of meetings, but we actually saw this thing happening. So one is clearly the online world emerging, rather emerged, and now possibly it will be a hybrid world going forward. Second, what we saw is the digital transformation. I think sir also already pointed out that there's a lot of applications which are already in play, those got accelerated. So digital transformation journey actually got accelerated even in government quite a bit. To us, the main thing which happened is once the digital transformation happens, a lot of data gets generated, right? Now that from our lens or from our eyes, we saw that a lot of data got generated in this last 1 year, and I mean there's a huge amount of data being generated anyways, but I think that management of that data now is becoming more and more critical. So online and acceleration of digital transformation is what we saw.
Right. Since Vineet mentioned about generation of the data, so I'll go to the data itself. Earlier you mentioned about the Arogya Setu app, CoWIN, and we do have a very robust GEM, Aadhaar and GST platform. And what we are observing, all these platforms are giving a very quality data to us. And during the pandemic, initially, when I speak to most of the government officers, we faced a lot of problem in terms of understanding who is migrant, when actually reverse migration was happening, and we did not have indexing, and somehow we were able to address those problems. So how do you look this mammoth data that we are creating, their role in our public policy in emergency response system? And I would like to understand from you, based on your experience on MyGov platform, because you happen to communicate right thing, especially people who are creating a lot of myth, and somehow MyGov were putting a lot of things on the social media, and they were actually providing correct information, and that were able to actually help people decipher the right set of knowledge, and that was only possible because you have the right set of information and right set of data. Even the emailers were sent to a lot of people, right?
Once you go digital, data is going to be there. Only question remains is that how do you use the data? So therein there are 2 basic principles that are to be followed. There is one aspect of data which is called the personal data, and one aspect of data which is called the non-personal data. So, even though we do not have our personal data protection bill is pending in the parliament for passing, but the principles behind the draft personal data protection bill or has been defined very clearly in several Supreme Court judgments, that has to be followed. So, whenever we deal with data, number one what we do is that we deal with data at aggregate level, and then we look into like how we handle anonymized data at the aggregate level and use it for larger public good. Like for example, a telecom operator will have a lot of mobility data, a Google will have a lot of mobility data that will let us know in what direction people are moving, where people are, what routes they are taking. So, if a urban planning, if somebody is doing planning for urban transport, he can, using that data, he can think of where do we require a flyover, where do we require mass rapid transportation systems, that can be very relevant. When we look at like health data, for example, at an aggregate level, if we are able to get information with regard to for what disease people are going at a particular primary health center or hospital, we can actually predict epidemics much earlier, and that will mean saving lives. So, data has a great role to play in public policy, and India has adopted the open data policy, under which all data is made available on data.gov.in, and now we are allowing access to that data to anyone who is wanting to build an application on top of it. So, that way with using open data and the data sets that are available, people can design their algorithms, they can design AI tools, they can offer value added services, which will further add to the to not only the economic output of the country in the form of products, but will add a lot of convenience to citizens. So, like health survey data which is available, like the animal husbandry data is available, agriculture data is available. So, all that data contributes a lot of leads to a lot of services on top of it. So, that is the role data can play in the days to come. Yeah.
Mr. Vineet, I would like to understand from you, since sir mentioned about the role of data and as to how actually it could be used and already being used by various government organizations. These days we are also noticing that there is a lot of emphasis on using next generation technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain and all. And those are being used for ensuring you have the right set of processing and analysis of data, and then you are able to create some level of great conclusion which can help you in policy making. How do you look at these next generation technologies within data management framework?
So, from our perspective, we look at data in maybe 4 parts. Okay, we look at storage of data, enrichment of data, activation of data, and then monetization. I mean, that's really the 4 steps if you talk of in data. Now, having worked in this sector, I've seen there's been a lot of emphasis on data storage for sure. I mean, we see a lot of work happening in that space, and there are some views on that as well, but definitely on the store aspect, there's a lot of work being done. I've been party or been witness to work which happened on the analytics side as well, right? I mean, there are a lot of analytics applications which also have picked up. But from our perspective, we see that the middle part between the data store and the analysis or activation of the data, there is a stage called enrichment of data, right? Which is where is the data residing? What is the data about that data, right? So, contextualizing that data sets, as you rightly said, and really giving the application a view that you can analyze such sort of data is one space we are doing a lot of work, that how we can catalog this data, how do we ensure that there is a cleansed data rather than it being a data which is just available. So, that's one piece I would say from an analytics perspective and a lot of perspective. How do we ensure that that data is right to analyze becomes important from our perspective. Yeah, so that's clearly one piece which I would.
Right. What we are hearing now across public sector, enterprise, banking sector, that whatever IT prioritization that is happening in various sectors, they are trying to build their IT infrastructure in such a way that those remain resilient. If tomorrow there is a pandemic, there is any emergency situation, the IT infrastructure should be able to automatically address, should be able to ensure business continuity. In that light, I would like to understand from you, what would be your suggestion, two or three key suggestions for any government organization if they are embarking on any digital transformation project? What are those things they must ensure?
See, one has to be prepared for all eventualities, and whenever we are going digital, there are certain risks that are involved. Like for example, when you talk of applications going hosted digitally and you are being able to access anywhere, first and foremost thing that we need to be aware of and to be conscious of is the challenges, cyber security challenges that they are there. How do you ensure that your system is robust, scalable and secure? So, following the right security standards, building in the right tools, looking into analytics, looking into behavior, looking into kind of attacks, who is accessing your portals from where, and in government what we find is that this is becomes a major crisis. And as we see that the number of digital services which have been increased, or number of departments or government agencies which have gone digital, at the same time number of cyber attacks have also gone up. So, this has to be kind of ensured that we have the right cyber information security policies, we have people who are trained in them, people who are able to handle that, that becomes very important and non-negotiable. Second and most important, other important thing is that like the trend is to go to cloud for cloud storage and for adopting the best of the technologies for the larger benefits for easy access and better services, as also lowering of costs. So, when you are doing that, are we aware of what we are doing, where are we storing the data, are we following our policies? If we have contracted a service provider to provide our services, are our policies written there clearly, our privacy policies intact, our contract conditions intact? How do we ensure that we have backup storage? How do we ensure that if a service is being offered from one data center, if something goes wrong, if there is an earthquake or some other reason at that location, how do we ensure, some breakdown for any reason, how do we ensure that services do not get stopped? So, those kind of issues one needs to tackle from the technical point of view to ensure that business continuity continues. And at the same time, now the pandemic has given one good lesson is that going digital is possible. Right now, like my entire team had gone digital, they were working from home, it was very convenient for them, they were saving commute time and they were contributing much more. So, now that we are coming back to office and we are coming back to the old way of the traditional way of functioning, the question that we are thinking is that is this better or was the digital better? In some segments, in some sectors, what we have found is that the value add which comes from a digital way of functioning is much better. Yesterday only we were having a meeting with our women employees for the International Women's Day, and I asked them like what was like easier, working in office or working from home, and most of them said that working from home they could take care of their normal responsibilities, family responsibilities. If a child is sick, if you are working from office, you may have to take leave, but if the child is sick and you are working from home, you may be able to take care of the child also, as you may be able to continue your work also. So, that increases the participation rate of women in the workforce. So, that is a big thing. Then people are working from remote locations, so they save time, they contribute more, the output is much better. So, this pandemic has taught a lot of lessons. How do we carry it forward? How do we ensure that these become, some of it becomes part of our new normal? That becomes the very key in our entire strategy.
Absolutely. Mr. Vineet, what Abhishek sir is saying that cyber security is really important, and when you are actually taking a digital transformation project and you are thinking to go cloud, you must evaluate where is your data going to reside, and in case of emergency you should be sure whether there will be availability of the data or the services will continue. Also during the pandemic, what we have realized, there is the production for certain organization has increased, and we are going to have a kind of hybrid model down the line. Would you like to share your views on two key things that you feel that a public sector technology leader must ensure while embarking on a digital transformation journey?
Actually, I have a lot of things, but I will try and see if I can make two out of it. Like sir rightly said, that data, one is the structured data which is available in enterprise applications, which is I think managed very well, but that is actually 20% of the data, and lot of applications like the healthcare and whole host of things which we are talking would potentially be human data or machine data which will come in, and that is growing exponentially. How do you manage data? That data will become very critical. That is one point I would like to make. Second, like you rightly said, on the infrastructure, there is pressure on the infrastructure, IT infrastructure, right. You utilize it in the right way, you ensure that there is compliance and regulatory stuff which are applicable, like you were mentioning things like GDPR from an outside perspective, but privacy laws from our perspective. Things like the business continuity planning in terms of having active sites, or even when there is a migration, ensuring there is zero downtime and very higher uptimes which are required. So, all these things are very critical. So, there is a pressure now, clearly digital transformation, data, clearly there is an IT infrastructure, how do you use it kind of in the right and optimal way, those are things I think will also become very, very critical.
Mr. Abhishek Singh, Mr. Vineet, thank you so much for sharing your time and sharing your thought process on the digital transformation of India and as to how various government departments are using technology, the kind of business continuity work they are doing, and some of the things that we discuss around data as to how we should ensure data management. Thank you so much once again for being such a wonderful panelist. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for an engaging chat session. Stay tuned and visit the expo area. We'll take a short networking break.